Hello, everyone. I am back with a new episode today, and there has been a theme that's really super present for me for the past couple of days. And I thought it would be a nice thing to talk about today because, I think we have a strong understanding of the idea of surrender, that we talk about that a lot on the spiritual path in this sort of regard of recognizing that there's so much more at play than just you, that you're co-creating this lifetime with something infinitely larger than we can even put into words, frankly. And so there's a level of trust and faith that I think comes through the act of surrender. And I was talking to a friend, Victor, who was on my show before, about surrender in general, and that being a theme, and he sort of replaced it with the idea of yielding. And that term, which, I mean, I've heard it before, but I felt like I was hearing it for the first time in that moment, because it really landed as a sort of next level to surrender, because there's a level to surrender that almost feels like that you're moving into the not doing. And that's important, certainly for some seasons. Yes, there are seasons that call forward rest and that ask you to not do, to be to redefine yourself in the not doing, in the beingness. But I think that for me, I know now in this space, the next level is what I would consider yielding, which is kind of simultaneously that really deep surrender guided by faith, but also kind of preparedness, right? It's like you're yielding until the inspired action comes through. You're yielding until the guidance is clear on how to move. So there's this, like, it's like kind of sitting in the idleness of readiness, and then knowing how and when to take action if that needs to happen. Because I think that, you know, even in the kind of idea of manifesting and creating and calling in our reality, there's a balancing out, right? There's a balancing out of receiving, kind of actually moving into what you'd consider feminine energy, the energy of receiving and allowing and letting come back to you. And then there's the energy of action and doing, what you'd consider more the masculine, the taking the steps towards what you desire and what you're calling in. And so the work then obviously is to balance those things out. And I think that yielding to me represents that happening in real time, that, and it pairs well with discernment, right? Because there's a lot of like ideas that come in and things we could do. And the truth is, a lot of the times we just do the things we could do just because it feels like we should be doing something. And so it ends up being wasted energy. And while, you learn little lessons as you go, part of discernment is knowing when to take action and, what to act on and which moves to make kind of as you go and in according to what you're being directed towards. So that to me is the art of yielding. It is the practice of being in that availability to what you need to know in terms of how to move, and then actually moving in that direction. It's yielding to the bigger mind, the consciousness, the collective consciousness, right? Because the truth is, the life is always changing and the world is always changing, and chaos comes and it goes, and the circus gets loud and then it's, quiets. That's like the nature of the universe, is to expand and contract. We call this spanda, the expansion and contraction of the universe. And so our life is always doing that. And so then to be in your life's work is to just be available to the expansion and contraction, and to maintain your role, your space, your divine assignment in relationship to what's happening in the world. And, obviously, ideally, we do that in some way that makes us money, because we have to make money in this 3D world. You can't not do that. And so the idea then is, of course, planting yourself in spaces that you're going to make money in a way that feeds your aliveness and feeds your availability to the whole, your devotion to the whole. But it's knowing what to say yes to and what to say no to. And I think that's a huge part of yielding. It's sort of that maintaining your humility. There's a lot of talk in the spiritual community, like we are God, and so there's no separation, right? I think the heartbeat of that is to kind of unveil the oneness that's always present. And I completely understand that. And I think that there is a need for those of us on the path to take more inspired action and to keep our, maintenance to the 3D world and the human reality. Um, but I think we also have to recognize that there's so much more at play. My replacement with that is like, yes, on some level we're God, but more so in the vision of us being like a droplet of water in God's ocean, right? Like, yes, we have the powers and the light of God, the peace of God, but we have to remain humble to the fullness of what we consider the creator is much bigger than us, and there is a divine orchestration of the movement of humanity that's much bigger than us, and the best thing we can do is to sharpen ourselves to be the one who can yield to the path as it unfolds and it flows and ebbs and moves us along, to maintain our placement in it. Like, we're the light of our truth connecting to the light of the world and the light of the all, and we're moving humanity into a higher vibrational timeline by maintaining our own light. So I wanted to give you guys yielding because that just really landed with me, and I feel like maybe others need to kind of take that word on as sort of an action word, right? Like, I think that's the other thing about surrender, is it feels like a non-action word. And again, yes, do understand the value of your being, and don't feel like you always have to be doing something to be valuable or worthy. There's a major fix there for many people who are defined, their worthiness is defined by what they do. So to clean that up and to trust in the worthiness of just your presence is key. And then to me, then that in action is the art of yielding, just moving with the current of the divine design, and continuing to show up in your light and preserving and protecting your light, your energy, your spirit, your peace as you go, as your devotional practice. Your spiritual practice is protecting your energy so that you can maintain your center of light in the collective movement of humanity. So I'm going to keep it short today and just give you that. And I invite anyone who that lands with to move into a space of yielding with me, because it feels pertinent on the earth plane right now, that we who are on the leading edge of consciousness and sort of moving humanity into higher vibratory space, that we take on inspired action in a new way right now, that we kind of have our boots on the ground and reconnect to the 3D to sort of move that march forward spiritually, energetically, and vibrationally, and in all the ways that we do that just by being ourselves and doing the work on ourselves. So that is my offering to y'all today. I hope you enjoy. Let me know what you think, and I will see y'all next time. Much love, everyone.